Hello there. So now let's go with the topic selection and organization of content. So of course we as teachers need to select and organize the content that we're going to teach. It's because we cannot teach everything at once, and honestly we cannot teach everything to them. So it is good that we're going to organize what are meant to be taught to a certain level of students. Okay, so of course, in the selection and organization of content, we are guided by the following principles. So, the first one guiding principle related to subject matter content is to observe the following qualities in the selection and organization of content. So here, we already have the qualities that we're going to check whenever we're going to select and organize content. The first one is validity. So, in simplest words or phrases or sentences, the things that you're going to teach, the content must be aligned with the goals and objectives of the basic education curriculum or the standards that the educational institution is going to give you as the teacher of that institution. As I told you before, that this is very important for you to know what you are aiming for, because just like in your syllabus, you could consider there the validity of your content if you follow the first is the course outcomes, and then the program outcomes, and then the vision mission of the institution. And then we have another quality for the selection and organization of content. We have, of course, significance. Well, of course, the content must respond to the needs of the learner, because if they're not going to know why they need to study that, then they will not be motivated. Okay, and then we have the balance. What are we talking about when we say balance in this area? It has something to do with the content that includes cognitive skill and affective elements. As I've told you before on how to write educational objectives, they must know why they need to study that, and that will have a balance of the cognitive and affective. And then we have another quality. We have self-sufficiency. So, when we say self-sufficiency, content fully covers the essentials. Okay? So, the essentials are sufficiently covered and are treated in depth. This is a case of less is more. So, you look at that. Less is more. That's the thing that you're going to take note of. Okay? Less is more, because as they say, students learn better if they will know what they just need to know. It's like limiting the things that they just need to know for a certain time. Because, of course, when they grow old, when they become mature, that's the time that they're going to widen the things that they have already learned. So, there. And then, of course, we have the interest. Teacher considers the interest of the learners, of course. They're not going to go away from that, because as what we say, there are dull teachers, dull textbooks, dull films, but no dull subjects. And then we have another utility. So, utility will answer the question, will this content be of use to the learners? So, of course, the topic that they're going to learn, the lessons that they're going to learn, are not just meant to be memorized for test and grade purposes, because as we say, grades don't define the students. But what is learned has a function even after examinations are over. So, it is much better if you're really going to let them see the significance of the things that they are learning inside the classroom, because when they go out they could apply that without you knowing it, and they will be thankful for you with that one. And then we have another quality, feasibility. So, feasibility, the content is feasible in the sense that the essential content can be covered in the amount of time available for instruction, because of course, as a student, we are not just confined with the classroom. We also have our homes. So we have different issues in life, and there is just this time allotment for the students to learn from you. So, of course, the content that you're going to to select and organize, make sure that you could cover that in the certain period of time that the educational institution is giving you to teach. Okay, so let's have another principle. In the structure of cognitive subject matter, content is going beyond facts by constructing an increasingly richer and more sophisticated knowledge base and by working out a process of conceptual understanding. So we're going to focus on the cognitive aspect of what we're going to teach to our students. So here are a few ways cited by cognitive psychologists by which we can help our students. So the first one, providing opportunities for experimentation. As they say, experience is the best teacher. Our so-called experiments in the science classes are more of this sort, following a cookbook recipe. So here they could enhance their cognitive aspect if they're going to follow a certain steps in which they're going to apply the scientific process and so on and so forth. And then we have another way, presenting the ideas of others. While it is beneficial for you to encourage your students to discover principles for themselves, yes, we tell them that as they grow, they must already build their own principle in life. Yet, it will not jeopardize your students if you present the ideas of others who worked hard over the years to explain phenomena. So it's better if you're going to give them examples so that those examples will serve as their models in life. Like, for example, Mahatma Gandhi, what he was able to do for his country. Those people will serve as the inspiration of the students in order for them to strive more for their dreams. And then we have another, emphasizing conceptual understanding. Many a time our teaching is devoted only to memorization of isolated facts for purposes of examination and grade. Yes, that's true. When we teach facts only, the tendency is we are able to cover more for your students to commit to memory and for you to cover in a test. But our teaching ends up skin deep or superficial, meaningless. If we emphasize conceptual understanding, the emphasis goes beyond facts. So we're talking about the going beyond facts. We integrate and correlate facts, concepts, and values in a meaningful manner. The many facts become integrated into a less number of concepts, yet more meaningful and consequently easier to recall. When we stress on conceptual teaching, we are occupied with less, but we are able to teach more substantially. It is a case of less is more. Yeah, just like what I told you about the first principle under self-sufficiency. So they're going to learn a limit knowledge, but this knowledge is very beneficial for them that they could already apply it at that point in time in their life. And then as they grow, as they learn more, they're going to see the value of this, and then they're going to deepen their knowledge about the things they have learned, and they're going to learn by themselves. Alright, so here are some specific strategies that can help us develop conceptual understanding in our students. So first is organize units around a few core ideas and themes. So it's like making an outline. You're going to organize the general topic up to the specific topics with the subtopics of those specific topics. And then explore each topic in depth. So just like in math class, you could learn better using one formula if you have a lot of examples. So there you could explore the topics in that. You give more examples, and then you examine cause effect relationships for other courses, and then you discover how specific details relate to more general principles. Right, another strategy is to explain how new ideas relate to students' own experiences and to things they have previously learned. So the things that you're going to teach them, you always ask them if they have encountered that these lessons in their lives, or if how these lessons will be applicable to their everyday situations in life. And then another one shows students that conceptual understanding is far more important than knowledge of isolated facts. So this is where the quotation grades don't define the students come. So it's like teaching your students that the real success in life is finding the real lesson in life, which will not couldn't be found from your grades. So it's like more of the application of what they have learned from their studies. Another one is ask students to teach to others what they have learned. So it's teaching your students to share what they have learned, because those students don't know that once they share this knowledge of theirs, the students whom they are talking to could add information which are relevant to the information which are being shared by the group. And then another one is promote dialogue. Yes, you're not just a teacher, you're a facilitator, you're a guidance, you're a counselor, and everything. A teacher really multitask everything. So they functions as a parent too. So as a parent, of course, second parent, you're going to promote dialogue to your students in such a way that they could feel that they belong to the class, and that they are loved by the teacher, and that the teacher believes that they could do something in the future for the betterment of the country. And then we have use authentic activities. So if you're going to use authentic activities, these are the things that you're going to promote real situations in life, because as the word itself, authentic, means real life. Authentic activities comprise complex tasks to be investigated by students over a sustained period of time. So, these provide the opportunity for students to examine the task from different perspectives using a variety of sources. Usually, they provide the opportunity to collaborate, because this is something to do with the real life skills. In, in such kinds of activities, they are going to know how they deal with a certain problem in their lives. Third principle, subject matter content is an integration of cognitive skills and affective elements. We've been mentioning cognitive and affective elements. They must be in balance, because this is true and this must be remembered. So, how could we do this? How could we balance cognitive skills and affective elements? First, we need to know the structure of subject matter content. So, when we say subject matter content, it is not just confined with the topics that we're going to teach. We also have the kinds of subject matter. So we have for cognitive, we have fact, concept, principle, hypothesis, theories, and laws. So how are they different from one another? So when we say facts, fact, it is an idea or action that can be verified. So, for example, we have the names and dates of important activities, population of the Philippines. So, those are factual information. And then we have concept. What is a concept? So, it's a categorization of events, places, people, and ideas. So, for example, the concept furniture includes objects as chairs, tables, beds, and desks. So, it's like a general term for specific terms. So, but it goes beyond that. We have the concept of swimming. Swim. It encompasses different actions like breaststroke, crawl, butterfly, so that involve propelling oneself through water. So concept is more like relating one information to another. And then we have principle. Principle relationships between and among facts and concepts. So principle is the relationship between the first and the second structure of subject matter content that we mentioned. These are arrived at when similar research studies yield similar results time after time. So, for example, the number of children in the family is related to the average scores on nationality standardized achievement tests for those children. So, usually this comes with the research. And then we have hypothesis. as how we have learned what we have learned from our teachers, that hypotheses are educated guesses about relationships. So there, it's like the tentative answer to a scientific problem, yes. And then we have theories. Theories are a set of facts, concepts, and principles. So these are the combination of the first three structures of subject matter content that we mentioned a while ago. Okay, they describe possible underlying unobservable mechanisms that regulate human learning, development, and behavior. They explain why these principles are true. Because principles are more likely the formulated facts and concepts, the one that could validate these principles are theories. And then we have the laws. Are firmly established, thoroughly tested principle or theory. So it means that these ones are really tested, unlike in theories. Let's have another under the structure of subject matter content. So we have the skills. And the skills that we're talking about here are the thinking skills, which are subdivided into subject divergent thinking, convergent thinking, problem solving, metaphoric thinking, critical thinking, which are subdivided again into their own areas. So, thinking skills. Okay, what are thinking skills? From the word itself, thinking. Okay, you already have the idea, but thinking skills that would be considered under the structure of subject matter content would refer to the skills beyond recall and comprehension. So it's just more of just memorizing certain ideas. Okay, so they are skills concerned with the application of what was learned. Okay, so we have the types of thinking skills. The first one is divergent thinking. Okay, so when we say divergent thinking, it's thinking of many possible ideas out of a general idea. Okay, so what are the types of divergent thinking? We have fluent thinking. Fluent thinking is just the generation of lots of ideas. So you're going to think of anything that would relate to the idea that you're going to talk about there. And then we have flexible thinking. In here, you're going to have a lot of thoughts in the kinds of ideas generated. So you're going to categorize the things that you are thinking. So you have your general idea, and then you're going to make your subcategories, and then from those subcategories, you're going to make another subcategories. Okay, so flexible thinking, more like being organized when it comes to thinking. And then we have the original thinking. When I say original thinking, this is thinking that differs from what's gone before. So it's like thinking the other way around. It's like thinking unusually. It's like thinking way beyond the expectation of the teacher. And then we have elaborative thinking. So elaborative thinking embellishes the previous ideas or plans. So the time that you're going to think, you're going to elaborate the general idea by thinking of past experiences, prior knowledge, and the like. Okay, another type of thinking skill is the convergent thinking, which is of course opposite to the divergent thinking. So convergent thinking is narrowing down from many possible thoughts to end up on a single best thought or an answer to a problem. So if a while ago divergent thinking is thinking from a general idea to specific idea, convergent thinking is thinking a lot of specific ideas to come up with a general idea. So that's convergent thinking. And then another type of thinking skill, we have problem solving, which is subdivided again into two. We have the algorithm and heuristics. Okay, so when we say problem solving, of course, when it comes to science, you're going to make sure of the scientific method. that. Okay, but we have the techniques when it comes to problem solving. We have break large problems into well-defined ones, distinguish information needed, and identify techniques to find the needed information. So, what are algorithms? Okay, um, solving by a problem by the use of an algorithm means following specific step-by-step instruction. Okay, so there, that's algorithm. You follow the step, the processes. How about heuristics? When there is no algorithm for solving a problem, when you can find the step-by-step process for solving a problem, you use heuristics. And heuristics are general problem-solving strategy for a solution. They are informal, intuitive, speculative strategies that sometimes lead to an effective solution and sometimes do not. So it's like on how you really guess on how a problem will be solved. So, how do you teach heuristics? You give students practice in defining ill-defined problems. You teach students wherein they couldn't use algorithms. Okay, so we have another type of thinking. We have metaphoric thinking. This type of thinking uses analogic thinking. Okay, so analogy. And then we have critical thinking. It involves evaluating information or arguments in terms of their accuracy and worth. So there. This is also mentioned in the taxonomy of objectives. Critical thinking. Okay. Now, another one, another type of thinking is creative thinking. So this type of thinking involves producing something that is both original and worthwhile. From the word itself, creative. Okay, from the root word create. Alright. There. Now, there are creative thinking behaviors that you should develop in order to attain this kind of creative thinking. So we have the first one, awareness. Awareness is the ability to notice the attributes of things in the environment so as to build a knowledge base that is the beginning of all other forms of creative thinking. So awareness, it's being aware of what is already provided there in front of you. And then curiosity. Curiosity is the ability and inclination to wonder about things and mentally explore the new, novel, unique ideas. Okay, so once you are already aware of the things which are there around you, you are curious of what could be developed, what could be improved. There. And then imagination. This is the ability to speculate about things that are not necessarily based on reality. So, imagination is the one that is used for you to create those unique ideas of yours after being curious of how you're going to develop of what you are already uh, being aware of the things around you. And then we have fluency, the ability to produce a large quantity of ideas. So you're going to make a lot of um, tests, before that hypothesis. And then we have flexibility, it's the ability to look at things from several different perspectives or viewpoints. There are those times that when you think you're going to expect a certain result, but later on, once you got the thing which you are not expecting, you are more likely to create another one. That's being flexible. And then we have the originality, the ability to produce new, novel, unique ideas. So once you are all done with being curious, imagining, having a lot of ideas, being flexible, accepting what you already have there, you're going to make one that is really unique, that could contribute to the betterment of the society. And then we have elaboration. It is the ability to add to an idea, to give details or build groups of related ideas or expand on ideas. So the time that you have already solved a problem, you're going to think of what your problem could be of help to another dimension, to another aspect. And then we have perseverance. This is the ability to keep trying to find an answer, to see a task through completion. So, there are those times that you're really going to fail from your imagination when it comes to being original, when it comes to inventing things. But from those failures, you're going to be persevering to attain success. You're not going to stop until you have found out the solution for the problem that you have pointed out when you were aware of the issues around you. There. Okay, so those are the types of thinking skills that should be considered when it comes to the structure of subject matter content. You need to trigger these different thinking skills because, of course, this development of thinking skills for one student would help him a lot. Okay, and we mentioned a while ago that there must be a balance of the cognitive skills and the affective element. So, how are we going to do that? If we were able to mention the cognitive aspects, the facts, and then the skills, the thinking skills, how? So, it is by teaching values. Okay, teaching values. You know, as they say, when you apply for a job, usually they don't look with what you already have when it comes to your skills, but they look forward on the values and attitudes that they're going to need when it comes to work, on any kind of work. And they're looking for positive values and attitude. Now, how are you going to teach values? So we have by Jutoro learning. So here, your student learns by being exposed to the situation, by acquainting himself with the setting, by following models, pursuing inspirations, and copying behavior. So here, you are the student through this learning is going to look for someone who could be his model when it comes to studying, when it comes to doing a lot of things when it comes to his life. Okay, so of course, you could be the perfect applicant for this kind of model. So our critical role as models in and outside the classroom cannot be overemphasized. There. And then we have by positively reinforcing good behavior. So you reinforce good behavior to your students, you become the model. And then by teaching the cognitive development of values in the classroom. So you're going to teach them the whys. Why do they need to have certain values, positive values, not just inside the classroom, but already applicable in their entire life. Okay, so that's it. There should be the balance of cognitive skill and affective element when it comes to the structure of subject matter content. Thank you for listening. God bless and mabuhay tayong lahat.